So, I'm just gonna give my initial thoughts of the DarkStar mod. I purchased this earlier today. I've been playing with it for 4 hours now, and I've barely made a dent in it. So if you're thinking, $10, this is kind of a steep price, you really need to think again, because I've barely scratched the surface in this, and I've been playing for 4 hours, so I can tell this is probably going to take me at least 2 months to get really deep in it. And I will say it has vastly improved the gameplay. So there's a couple different ways that it does this, and I will explain by going into the start menu here. So there are some settings and some gameplay options which change a little bit with DarkStar. So my difficulty right now, I have it on normal, but if we go down here, we can see there are DarkStar settings, and one of them is the challenge level. And this scales alongside with the character, but I currently have it set on Punish Me. You can have it set on DarkStar just for fun, but I would suggest if you're over level 50 and you're turning this mod on, put on Punish Me. It is going to make it a lot more fun. Things are very challenging, but not too challenging. It's very well balanced. I had a couple moments where I didn't think I was going to be able to steal a ship, and it might have took me 2 or 3 tries, but I was able to do it. So it's challenging, but not to the point where it's impossible. And you can actually up that by turning up the, what is it? If we go here, so those gameplay options, they work in tandem with this. You can turn up the enemy damage as well as that Punish Me setting, and that's going to make it even more difficult. But if you do have this Punish Me on here, you're going to get increased chances of getting some really good weapon drops, and that's part of what makes it difficult. Is it, the enemies have some really nice weapons on them, and they can deal out a significant amount of damage. So basically, if you're starting out, my personal suggestion would be normal here, turn this up to Punish Me, and then play for a little bit. If it's too challenging, you might want to mess with this stuff, where you turn this stuff down a little bit to easy or very easy, depending upon what you want, and then you just leave this where it is, because you're going to get a lot better loot rewards. But beyond that, one of the things I really do like about this mod, and its improvement over DarkStar Astrodynamics and DarkStar Manufacturing, is there are kiosks everywhere. So we have one kiosk here, and this is basically an informational kiosk, and explains everything. So if you do have questions, I would highly suggest you seek it out here, and it will explain. But there's also, we have vendors. Now we can see the vendor credits, it's only 3,000, but for me at level 60, it's 20,000. Normally, I kind of burned through some of those credits already. And those credits, they scale. I believe it'll go all the way up to 65,000 vendor credits here. So it scales with your level. So it's not completely broken or completely OP or anything like that. But beyond that, we can see there are some nice things in here. So we have this DarkStar, basically Starborn armor. So this is the DarkStar version of it, but maybe you like a particular style. We have every single Unity style of starborn armor in here, and it's all at this Mark 1. Now this does scale with the number of Unity jumps you've done. Right now, this is my first Unity jump on this particular character, which I chose this character specifically because I was right at the Unity, and it's nice and clean transfer when turning on DarkStar if you do it right before a Unity jump. Although I will say I did check out the stuff before I did that Unity jump. Everything was working perfectly fine, so I didn't have any issues prior to doing the Unity jump. I was able to get this working absolutely fine. Like the terminals popped up, the settings changed correctly for me. I didn't need to putz around with anything. I did go ahead and do that Unity jump just to, get a fresh start and have that little extra challenge with it. Plus you get this. So this is the DarkStar boost pack, which you basically can fly with this thing. So I know a lot of people, they love vehicles. I'm more of a boost pack person, and I am a particular fan of this boost pack because you can basically fly on any planet and travel as the bird flies. So I feel it's a little bit more efficient than even the vehicles, because the vehicles, they can be a little bit difficult to control. But let's talk a little bit more about DarkStar and what we can do with it. So now there is a lot of outpost stuff. I haven't gotten to that point yet in here. I'm still trying to kind of grind up some money so I can build myself an outpost. But if you're not an outpost kind of build person, there are solutions here for you. So we're going to come to Prima here. And when we get here, we're going to find that all the crafting stations that would normally be at an outpost are here, including the ship services as well.
What a view! I could stay here forever.
So if you just come to the back here, we're going to see a couple little open shipping containers, and they have everything that you need for DarkStar. So we have like apparel crafting, more armor crafting, armor enhancement, the ammo crafting for DarkStar, the vial weapon crafting. That is very late game in DarkStar. Not to mention, what does that say? I'll read that later. We got more weapon enhancements, more weapon crafting.
What prey do you want?
But let's go in here. What do we see? We got some workbenches as well, industrial benches, and then we have this doohickey, which codexes. It basically rips the special effects off of weapons so you can put them onto other weapons. So a lot of fun there. I do like how that system works opposed to the old DarkStar manufacturing. I like the idea and concept of, you're taking that special attribute off of a weapon and putting it on another one. So as before, we have another information kiosk here. We have another DarkStar services here.
So
and then we got the shipbuilding terminal. So we can come in here and we have the shipbuilder. So I did do a little bit of work on this ship I managed to steal. So I upgraded the weapons. I was able to access some of the weapons. I'm still relatively early level at level 62 for this. But yeah, I was able to upgrade this. So this is like a little A class, and I was able to take down some C classes with it, And basically, all I really did was just upgrade the weapons to some DarkStar stuff and upgrade the shield slightly. There's still a lot of expansion I need to do within DarkStar Astrodynamics. So if we're looking here at the weapons, we can kind of see there are a bunch of different weapons here. And what I am going to tell you is you need to pay attention to the fire rates on some of these. Some of these fire rates, they're a lot higher than like the base game fire rates, like 12. That's pretty high. So you might see like comparable damage, but the fire rate is substantially higher than what you would see in the base game. Not to mention, this is also very much like the other Astrodynamics, where you can change the art style of the weapon to basically whatever you want, and you know, make the ship look however you want it to look. But we can see, even at my low level, I actually have a fair amount of DarkStar stuff, and I do like the fact that it's at the top of the list instead of the bottom of the list. So we can see like the stuff at the bottom of the list here is like the base game items, and that's just, it's very convenient. So I don't have to sit there and scroll down through a giant list to get that stuff. So I am having the absolute time of my life with this right now. I'm probably going to be playing this for a while, so I'm going to do a full follow-up review probably in about a week and a half, or as soon as I'm able to kind of get a couple outposts up and running, get a little bit better ship, and get a little bit farther in this, and be able to give you like a full rundown of what is actually different, and how much it does improve. But if you're looking at just the simple like $10 value on this, in the fact that it does vastly improve the gameplay, and that is specifically with the enemy scaling. So that is something new to this, is the enemies kind of scale appropriately. If you've ever played this game for a long time, you will realize, like, once you hit level like 60, nothing is really challenging anymore. And that's just because like the enemies kind of stop scaling appropriately. They don't scale enough in the base game after that point. So like any of the scaling of those enemies, it just breaks down substantially, and the game kind of gets boring after like level 60. It becomes too easy. So for me, this is like an absolute must-have, because one, it just allows enemy scaling. It's going to take till like level 250 to unlock all the different crafting things, all the different ship parts, everything like that. And the enemies, they scale all the way up to, I believe it was level 999, which is just absolutely absurd, because I couldn't ever imagine playing this game all the way to level 999. So this is basically my emphatic like approval of this. And one thing, I am running this with a bunch of different mods. Now, there are some known conflicts, but I have not had any problems. So it's running fine with Derek and a lot of the other story mods I do have installed on this. And I kind of consider this like a foundational framework for story mods, because it allows that enemy scaling. If you're playing with like different mods that are going to add like new points of interest or new stories as well, and you plan on playing like the same character for a substantial amount of time, this is something that you're going to want to use, because it's going to keep those things challenging and difficult. Now, it really does depend upon how the mod author for that particular story mod does make it, but if it's made in a way that allows the DarkStar mod to kind of scale those enemies and place, random weapons in their hands, positively going to have an enjoyable time. It's going to keep those story mods very fun and enjoyable for much later levels than they normally would. So that's like kind of like a major problem within Starfield itself, is just the enemy scaling breaks down, not to mention the weapons after you hit advanced. You're not going to find any better weapons, so you stop picking up stuff. So this kind of solves it, and it solves it in multiple ways, because you're able to break down like legendary items and take those special affects off of them. There's actually a point now to picking up all those like legendary weapons. I just did Shattered Space, and I basically did not loot anything, and that was because while I was running through it, I just had better gear, and there was no point to it. But now, even if I do have better gear, I might pick up that legendary effect because it has like something like instigating on it. Maybe the weapon's not that great, but I want that instigating codex so I can put it on something else. So this makes a ton of sense. I would highly recommend this. Just emphatic. But I'm going to be probably live streaming this for like the next 2 weeks. I'll see if I can play it daily. Kind of busy at work, but it'll at least be like every other day. Probably more than every other day, but not quite every day. So I'll be on live streaming this, and then probably after about a week and a half, I'm going to put out a lot more detailed review of this, where I'll be going into like the outpost building, going a little bit deeper into depth with the ship builder, going a little bit deeper into depth with weapon upgrades, armor upgrades, etc., how the codexes work. It's an absolute lot to get through, but I did want to get my initial thoughts out on this, just because, there's probably a lot of people sitting on the fence and thinking, should I get this or should I not? And like, just with the amount of like gameplay content that it's going to add, it's well worth it, especially if you're putting in mods like whatchamacallit. It's I'll just show you. It's easier sometimes just to show. So let's see here. So mods that I would highly recommend is this Forgotten Frontiers POI expansion. With this, and this is specifically because I think this mod author built some POIs that are better than the Bethesda POIs, and they are more challenging than the Bethesda POIs. Now, I haven't done any of them yet, but I am excited to do them with the DarkStar mod because of how challenging and fun it makes the combat. Like, combat is actually intense. I have to take cover. I have to think strategically. I've been using Starborn powers, which normally I do not use them at all when I play this game, because, like, once you get to a certain point, it's real easy. You don't need the Starborn powers. But yeah, this mod complements a lot of other mods, and like I said, it acts as a foundational framework for other mods to kind of build upon, and it keeps those mods interesting for a lot longer time. So emphatic, like, if you're on the fence about this, I would definitely get it. It's more than worth $10. I honestly, if I was the author, I'd probably price this around $20. I know a lot of people would be like really skeptical of the price on $20, but this is going to make your gameplay last substantially longer, like thousands upon thousands of hours longer. But I'm going to leave it at that. I will come back to this in, I'll be live streaming, but I will come back and do a full review in about a week and a half, where I will break down a lot more of the stuff like around outpost building, a little bit more in depth with the ship building, a little bit more in depth with the crafting, etc. But as always, please enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.